What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review, and yet another one I think was pretty anticipated. I know I was anticipating it because I've been a fan of this band since like high school.
Yeah.
We are going over the latest offering from Body Count, Merciless. This also comes out on the 22nd of November on Century Media Records. This band formed in LA in 1990. This is their 8th album overall. We actually reviewed Carnivore when it dropped back in, was it 2021, 2020? It was a while ago.
Remember?
Like I said, I've been a fan of this band, God, since their second album, Born Dead. I remember hearing about them and the infamy of the song Cop Killer and finding out that Ice-T, the original gangster, had a metal band. And I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. And then I listened to it, I was like, dude, this is pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty much where I'm at, although I first heard of Body Count with the original album Body Count. One of the kids up the street from me, I was pretty sure like in the 5th or 6th grade, had the first Body Count album, and I remember the song Evil Dick, and I thought that was hilarious. And that's kind of how I got into Body Count, and I've kind of stayed there the whole time, because I, myself, am a fan of old school gangster rap and hip-hop, so this only made sense that when I found out Ice-T had a metal band, that, I mean, how can you not listen to that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much if you're a fan of like old school hip-hop, you kind of run into Ice-T.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're kind of doing it wrong. Now, Ice has had like many facets, like, tons of acting gigs, long-running stint on Law and Order. And honestly, he really hasn't done like a full-on hip-hop album in forever. He has been really focused on Body Count pretty much, I would say, since they like full-on reformed in, was it like 2009, 2010, something like that. Pretty much since Manslaughter, honestly, this band has kind of been on a tear of just really solid albums. Describing Body Count's sound, though, has become like, more difficult over the years. Like, yeah, you could have like labeled them rap rock back in the earlier days. Like, there's definitely some metal elements in there too, but they've kind of embraced like a lot of tropes of like thrash metal, specifically like more like crossover thrash, hardcore, groove metal. There's still elements of hip hop, and more recently there's been like some more brutal elements that kind of are a little bit closer to like, death metal and deathcore, I would say.
I would state that as well, especially in the song Lying MF. You know what that means. I don't know if that'll get us popped on YouTube, so I won't say it. It might. But yeah, Lying MF, the beginning of that, in fact, the whole track has just big, brutal chugs in it. There's nothing real flashy going on there as far as that's concerned, but it's definitely one of the heavier songs on this record.
I mean, the song Fuck What You Heard, which was, I believe, the second single, like the whole back half of that is kind of a slam breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
This album, across the board, I would say might be one of their heaviest albums. Like, every song in here is punchy and mean, alternating between like just big, heavy, syncopated grooves or like thrashy sections or D beats. They aren't really flirting as much with melody on this one. Like, this one is just flat out mean, and once again, Ice at the helm. I would never want to be the subject of an Ice-T song. I would probably be terrified. Like, he's just putting out the song to let me know that he's actually coming after me. Every single verse uttered on here, whether he's doing like a more like hardcore bark or kind of like a punky kind of thrashy delivery or just flat out rap, it sounds like he has his foot on the throat of whoever he's talking about, or whomever, like the entire group of people, because Ice 100% still has his targets, and he still has monstrous riffs to just back him up on every track.
The record even comes in with a pretty cool interlude. You know that he likes to bitch about interludes, and I do too for the most part.
I'm not going to bitch, and it's not because I'm scared of Ice-T.
Yes, it is.
It might be.
Comes in with interrogation interlude. It's bouncy, it's groovy, it gets riffy towards the end, it's got some great spoken word.
Yeah, a lot of this is very groove-oriented, like right into the title track. That song leads in with a lumbering groove, and it kind of sounds like they take the Iron Man opening riff, and it's this kind of like drawn-out, sliding, bending riff, and then just Ice just kind of goes to town over that, and then you get this giant chuggy chorus on it, and this is just a good, menacing, sinister song. These big, booming gang vocals on the chorus, which is just pretty much a refrain of the title. It is, well, merciless. I've never expected mercy from Ice-T in any song, and he delivers, and that's pretty much like the vibe in this album. Everything on here feels way darker, way meaner, and I mean, if you've listened to any of their previous works, that's maybe a little hard to believe, but trust me, like, this album means business.
And the record features quite a few guest stars. Again, what's a body count album without having a few of your friends to join you? Corpse Grinder appears, Joe Bad from Fit for an Autopsy, Howard Jones from Killswitch, Blood Has Been Shed, Light the Torch, things like that. You know, Howard's done a whole bunch of things. Max Cavalera, we all know Max. And then one guest we're not 100% sure on because he's not really mentioned, but it could be. We'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah. And for the most part, he makes really good use of his guests. On Purge, pretty much, it starts off with Corpse Grinder bellowing the, song title, and then he gets his own verse in there where he just sounds, he sounds like George. And he sounds awesome. A little bit more reverb on his vocals on that than I'm kind of used to. But, he delivers his fast cadences. Honestly, my favorite appearance on here is probably Joe Bad from Fit for an Autopsy. The song Psychopath was, I believe, their lead-off single, and holy shit, that song got riffs and a groove that legit will make you want to throw a chair. Like, it is just hard-hitting, syncopated as hell, thrashy riffs kind of integrated in with these syncopated chugs, and man, it's absolutely infectious.
Max Cavalera on Drug Lords, that's kind of around the same school of thought as to what Max does, albeit it had more of like a go ahead and die vibe to it, a little bit more thrashy, kind of punky, but Max actually has a lot of vocal parts, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, he actually kind of takes point on that song initially, and then I want to say it sounds like maybe Ernie C is kind of screaming in the background. Ernie's more known for like the guitar work in there, which, his guitar work I think is awesome. I think he's an underrated riff writer. Dude's got some badass shreddy leads on here, especially on Lion MF. But it's his riff work that I really like. He just delivers like what I would call blunt force trauma riffs on every song, even peppering in a little bit of melody occasionally, like World War, while that song is very dark. Like, pretty much... a lot of like Cold War reflection, like, I've already lived through a Cold War, so, to all the kids that are kind of going through stuff right now in terms of, it's a little tense out there. Sarcastically, I would probably look at you as like, what, first time? But honestly, I sympathize with you because I was there back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the song. Lots of good, like, melodic, layered harmonies on that one. Honestly, it kind of stands out as the most melodic song, but trust me, it's, like, still an absolute bruiser. All of these songs are absolute bruisers, I would say. One of the things that I really like about this, and honestly, what I like about Body Count in general in terms of, like, especially their more recent offerings here, is they're all fiercely old school. Like, all the stuff that they employ in their style sounds old school. Like, I know Ice is like a big Suicidal Tendencies fan, and you totally hear that on songs like Purge, where it kind of flips back and forth between like more punky, thrashy, kind of like blasty sections, and then these like hardcore bouncy grooves, which the hardcore bounce is all over here. You're going to get caught in a ton of grooves on this.
And being that it's Ice-T, it's still rap metal, but that's not the overall focus, but there's definite influences coming from Biohazard and Stuck Mojo and things like that, so it still plays in that camp as well. It's just got a heavier vibe to it.
Yeah, like this is definitely more rap metal versus rap rock. Like, while there's a couple of moments in here where, Ice-T slows maybe similar to like Zach De La Rocca from Rage Against the Machine or something like that. The, vibe of it, the whole atmosphere around it. Like, Zach sounds like he's shouting on a college campus through a bullhorn on top of a soapbox. That's kind of always been his shtick. Ice sounds like he is screaming at someone with his foot on their neck and letting them know, like, listen, when I'm done yelling at you, you may or may not be here after that. But Ice is very clever with his delivery. Like, it adapts to each song. Like, there are songs in here that definitely have more of like an old school hip hop vibe. Fuck What You Heard, Lion MF. Both of those kind of have like a little bit of that hip hop swagger, especially to the groove. But when it comes down to like the punkier delivery, even some of the faster sections in songs like Live Forever and Purge, he kind of like really adapts to that like, kind of hardcore delivery, and he does it really well. And one of the main things that I love about Body Count and Ice-T in general is I believe everything that Ice-T says he's done or is going to do. There is an intent, there is a focus. He is very genuine and very real. And while at times, he's just kind of got this threatening aura about him, especially when you break down the lyrics, but he's also a little bit deeper in terms of character. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here he goes over in terms of subject matter that, are things that weigh on our minds.
Yep. And that leads me to the next thing. What is a body count album without a cover? And in this case, it's Comfortably Numb from Pink Floyd. Now, this is the one where we said there might be a guest on. It's David Gilmour for sure. I don't know if he actually played all the leads or if they were sampled out of the album. I don't know.
He's in the music video, and he's playing, a very David Gilmour lead across the entire song, by the way. Mm-hmm. He never stops with those amazing bluesy licks. But I'm not sure if he actually played on the album as a guest. Like, that could be Ernie doing, all of those leads. He's an awesome guitarist in his own right. So I'm not sure. Like, we're just going to put, like, an asterisk on that guest spot.
But the lyrics of that song are actually quite poignant and very relatable to today in general. Like, at the end of that song, he says, and if there is a God, he's probably pissed at us. Like, just a lot of real-world relatable stuff.
Yeah, Ice definitely has his targets set when it comes down to his lyrics. Like, Fuck What You Heard is pretty much about the current political shitstorm going on right now and even before it. Whatever side you're on, he's talking shit about both. He doesn't like any of you. He's just kind of pissed about the results of everything. But I like the fact that it's a very honest take about everything. Like, this has become Ice's, I think, main just outlet for all of his rage and contempt with the world, and he's got a killer band behind him just delivering music that totally fits with everything he's doing. Like, all these songs, I think, are, like, particularly hard-hitting. Even his cover of Him. He does a cover, can you even call it a cover? I don't even know. My Contract, off of Original Gangster, released in 1991. Like, that's probably his most well-known solo album. He does, like, a metal version of it. And honestly, it's awesome. Like, he adapted it really well. Took that kind of, like, like hip-hop bounce and turned it into, like, a hardcore bounce. You get, like, continuous machine gun chugging. There's some really clever transitions in it. But yeah, pretty much everything on here, I think, is pretty damn solid. Though, there was one song, I don't think it's a bad song necessarily, but it just has a part on there that just drives me nuts. Live Forever. This is the song that features Howard Jones. I love Howard Jones. Being End of Heartache is one of my favorites. Kill Switch Engage songs. Alive or Just Breathing kind of still takes gold on that one. But yeah, I was excited he got Howard Jones. And the song kind of fits with, what I associate with Howard Jones in terms of, like, melodic metalcore. It has melodeath riffs, syncopated breakdowns. There's a fast, very at the gatesy section to it. And Ice is pretty much carrying, like, all the verses, and it's solid. And then you get to the chorus. And I was, like, getting hyped. I was, like, ready for it. Like, all right. Howard's going to come in. He's going to belt out some amazing vocals, and it's and then it didn't happen. The chorus on it is very flat, and it's just essentially a refrain of the title, and it's drowned out in effects. It sounds like Howard Jones recorded this while submerged underwater. I don't get it, especially with his vocal prowess. Now, he has a whole section where he screams his guts out over a breakdown, and it's awesome. But the chorus just, I don't know, it kind of bothered me. Like, I feel like he's the only guest that kind of did dirty a little bit.
Because he's not really allowing Howard to do what he does. Part of the reason I like Howard Jones is because he has both schools of thought vocally. He's got great cleans, he's got fairly devastating growls, he's got a big bellowing, booming voice, and I like that about Howard. And I, too, was ready for this big chorus, especially because I haven't heard Howard do that in a long time, so I was kind of, geeked. And then it didn't happen, and that chorus, I don't really think fits the song, period. In fact, I think it kills the momentum of that song.
Yeah, that was kind of just a moment there where I was kind of taken out of it. And there's a couple of other, moments in songs that I'm just like, well, it didn't work as well as I thought it could, but it didn't harm the song overall that much. And I'm a little divided on Comfortably Numb. It's kind of hard to call it a cover, but with every cover that Body Count has done, Ice has always put his own spin on it. He's always put his own lyrics in there. Go back and listen to his cover of Institutionalized, which I think is the best cover of that song ever, especially when he gets down to the whole last verse about vegans. I laughed my ass off every time I hear that part.
Yeah.
And this one, I feel like the song essentially becomes more his than an actual cover. Like even the chorus feels very different. Like it's more of a refrain of, just, a couple of the key lines from the song. It's not bad by any means, and I do like the continuous bluesy lead behind it. Like, I'm a sucker for David Gilmour's playing, like, any time. Like, yeah, throw on echoes, I'm going to be happier and shit. But there was part of me that kind of felt like that cover missed a bit of the mark. But overall, honestly, I dig this. Like, this is a fun listen. It's riff and groove. It is unbridled hostility from start to finish. Again, I don't believe Ice held back on anything on here. And honestly, I think it made for like one of his most solid albums here. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I dig this. This is a beast of an album. There are definitely some songs I'm going to be jamming a lot to. Again, that groove on Psychopath.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely infectious. Do or Die might have some of my favorite riffs in this song too. Lion MF. Like, these songs are just mean-spirited and catchy and just beat you over the head, but they're also really hooky and clever too. If you're a longtime Body Count fan and you especially like this recent run of albums they've had, strongly recommend this. Also, I mean, if you like just like groovy metallic hardcore like Earth Crisis and Hatebreed and shit like that, and I mean, again, like a little bit of crossover thrash, like, old school DRI, Suicidal Tendencies, I don't know. Check this album out. This is really fucking good.
I, once again, totally agree. I had a great time with this record. It's 4 stars for me as well. Again, I've been a long-time Ice-T fan and a long-time Body Count fan, so this was a really fun record to go over. And I like the fact that it's actually pretty heavy. A lot heavier than I think they've been in a long time. It definitely hits hard. Again, no one quite delivers lines like Ice-T does. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that he is out to fuck somebody up because that's what he does. That's his whole shtick and has been for years. The songs from track to track are actually pretty entertaining. I like the fact that they make good use of the guest vocalists, and the songs are kind of actually tailored more to what those vocalists would do. With the exception of the kind of let down Live Forever, I still like that song. It's got a great metalcore vibe to it, but he didn't really let Howard sing, and I missed that. I just miss Howard Jones, period, doing those kind of things. But anyway, yeah, if you like Body Count before, you're probably still going to dig them once again, especially if you've been following them since their return when they've got a little bit more focused on things. You're probably really going to dig this. I, of course, still love Ice-T's solo career because I love Ice-T's solo career. Fight me.
Not you, Ice.
Yep, not you, Ice. Please don't fight me. I do want to shake your hand, though. Not important. If you're a fan of those things, and especially, again, things like Biohazard and Stuck Mojo and Earth Crisis and things of that nature, definitely check this out. I think you're going to have a really good time with it.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you were new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also now have memberships. They are only 99 cents, and we are probably going to kick off our members-only live stream probably Thanksgiving night. I'm going to put up a post about it at some point, and we'll figure out what the hell we're going to talk about. I'm sure it'll be a good time because, well, pretty much whatever you ask us, we'll probably answer. And, yeah, no, we've already made a lot of interesting admissions courtesy of that little thing there. So, yeah, who knows? Members might actually get some really interesting information out of us. And yeah, all this is pretty much the new way to support the channel as we're trying to get away from Patreon and also make sure we can afford StreamYard with their raised prices and raised quality too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely better quality going on there, and I'm happy about that. I just don't want to pay more for it. But yeah. Monthly it's getting up there, so.
But yeah, if you would like to help us out and become a member, there's a join button down below. And we also still have our store with our shirts and such, thrallsmetal.com, and that is linked down below in the description.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We do all this stuff here at Thralls of Metal all for you guys. We appreciate everyone that is a part of this channel. The subscribers, the fans, it blows my mind. We are on the precipice of 20,000 subscribers, which is insane. I'm sure we're going to give some stuff away. I think we're compiling some stuff to give you, so that'll be cool. But yeah, couldn't have made it this far without you guys. We are appreciative of that beyond all belief. Tons of content coming your way. Album reviews, discography rankings, collection updates, states of metal, all that jazz. We do all this once again for you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. And again, tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome. And we will catch you later.